You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's UFC AfterShow. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's UFC AfterShow.
Hello and welcome to UFC AfterBuzz TV. George Hermoza is not going to mess up my intro today. We are here to talk about two
we did it again.
really exciting UFC shows this week. One was a weekday fight in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It was Cerrone versus Miller. And the other one was just a few days ago, was McGregor versus Brandao in Dublin, Ireland, which is arguably one of the biggest UFC crowds in history. You said it was the loudest in history. Do we have
officially? I think it was like at 101 decibels.
101 decibels in Dublin, Ireland.
It went
Irish,
to 11.
Crazy.
The arena literally has no roof.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor blew the roof out of that place.
That is what they said.
It has no roof.
I've heard this joke before. I think Joe Rogan made it. Anyway, I am Daria Berenato. This is George Hermoza and Jay Tan. We are joined with an extra special guest today, Alan Jouban. He is a was that okay? Almost. He is a SoCal local, a fighter who has just been recently signed to the UFC. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but first, let's get to these fights.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's start off with the Atlantic City, New Jersey card. It was in my hometown.
Never heard of it.
It was for J-Day. International J-Day, July 16th. Thanks for all the presents out there to the fans. Appreciated.
It was both George and Jay's birthday on Wednesday, and they think that Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller fought for them.
We know that that's the case. I mean, why else would you do anything on a Wednesday? Why else would you do a UFC on a Wednesday?
Of course.
I'm still drunk.
No, this it was kind of an interesting return to their form from earlier this year when they were doing these Wednesday night shows.
Right.
And you know, I think they never closed the door. You know, never say never. Well, we'll see these from time to time again.
Yeah,
but, you know,
it's hard to draw a crowd on a weekday, but it wasn't too bad of a crowd.
It was a hell of a card too.
Everyone wants to go see the Cowboy, and Jim Miller is a New Jersey native, so of course he brought some locals with him.
They delivered.
Unfortunately, he didn't win, but you know, he went out there and tried, and his boys were there to support him. Let's start off the card at the bottom. We had Lucas Martins versus Alex White. Martins won by TKO in round 3, 2 minutes and 52 seconds in. Then we had John Lineker and, ready? Albtekin Oslic. No.
Oh, no. You messed up? Okay.
No, it's Oslic, I think. All right, Oslic. We'll go with that. Lineker won TKO 9 seconds into round 3. That was a cool one. Did you watch that?
That was... Well, did I watch it? It's our job. Gotta watch that. Yeah, that was a really interesting fight.
10 minutes ago.
So, yeah, Lineker further established himself in the flyweight division, finally making weight and not having a problem. There's a lot of questions going in, you know, regarding him being able to make weight at 25 and being able to hold his own cardio-wise into it, and certainly answered all those questions there.
Definitely. And we had Justin Salas versus Joe Proctor. Proctor won by TKO in round 2, a minute and 33 in. And then we had Rick Story and Leonardo Mafra. Story won by submission in round 2, 2 minutes and 48 seconds in.
Yep, nice triangle choke.
Now let's get to
side
the
choke.
good
I'm
ones.
sorry.
Yeah, it was a good choke. We had Edson Barbosa and Evan Dunham. It was a lightweight fight. I was super excited about this one. I love Barbosa's kicks, and that last one was potent.
Yeah, and clearly that was going to be a match really fun to watch. There was going to be a lot of trading, great skill there.
Definitely.
And Barbosa just landed it well. Didn't have a problem with Evan.
Right. He just came off a loss to Cerrone.
Yeah.
Barbosa just lost to Donald Cerrone. So I think he was definitely coming in the cage with,
landed that landed that shot to the liver, just kind of grazing with his toes. It seemed like.
Yeah, it didn't even fully land. Imagine if that would have happened.
Yeah. It was enough to double over Evan Dunham, and then Barboza followed up with rights for the TKO finish.
Yeah, they pulled him off as soon as he hit the
Yeah,
ground.
don't get it twisted. Barboza, I think, is 14-2 now.
Yep.
I mean, the guy's his record, I think, speaks for itself. There's 2 losses. I mean, yes, he lost to Cerrone. He lost to Varner. Both great guys. I mean, no shame in losing to any of those 2 guys. I think he's ready for like a top 5, maybe even top 7, top 8 guy.
Definitely.
He's definitely up there. I mean, I think he trains with Jose Aldo at times. I know he's got that Brazilian.
Novo União.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they want to get him there. I think it was just a matter of kind of turning things around and getting that win streak.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
they were building him for a while till he ended up with Cerrone there.
Yeah, it's a good weight class too. It's a certain amount of proving yourself until you get those big fights, and I definitely think Barboza's at that point where they're like, okay, now we can give him the good guys. I mean, he faced Evan Dunham. Didn't Dunham just come off? He fought Cerrone not so far back, right?
Yeah, but he lost. I think this is Dunham's 3rd loss in a row.
Yeah, he hasn't been doing so hot. So maybe we'll see some shifts in the rankings. Did you get to watch the fights over the weekend?
I did watch the fight. It was an exciting card. That fight in particular, the Donald Cerrone fight, Evan Dunham. Donald, man, he's just a. I'm sorry, Donald
and Jim Miller.
And Jim Miller. Excuse me. Donald is crazy. The one we were just talking about, the
Edson
Barboza fight with the body kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got crazy kicks, man. He's a scary guy to go against. They were saying during the broadcast that he was having trouble finding sparring partners because he injured
like 7 of them.
Seven sparring partners. I mean, that's
insane.
Crazy when you're injuring that many guys. So
yeah, I mean, if you guys get a chance, YouTube Edson Barboza kick Tara Edom. All you gotta say is, "Holy cow, that's a knockout!"
Yeah, I think it's in every UFC highlight video that I've seen. Every UFC commercial you see, every pay-per-view commercial you see, usually in the highlight reel is that kick. It's an awesome kick. His kick though, it's like it wasn't a traditional MMA style kick that we see, like where it just comes so loose off the hips. You really saw the switch in his hips. You were like, "Holy crap, that hurt!" Yeah. You know, a lot of them you see, you're like, oh, it didn't look like it hurt too bad. And then you see the red on the thigh and the bruising. You're like, okay, it was a good kick. This one was like, you saw the power behind the kick. There was no question about it.
Well, he uses his reach and his length so well.
Yeah, that's
with
another
those
good
legs.
point. Then we had Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller, obviously. Another lightweight match.
Dana White's favorite fighter, I think, Donald Cerrone.
That's what we were saying in the trailer, because he takes every fight, right?
He doesn't even know the word no when it comes to, hey, you want to fight? It's like, yep,
okay,
absolutely.
Let's go.
I think his goal was to try to fight 6 times this year. He's already at 4.
Yeah. You asked me in the trailer, you're like, what's a lot of fights in 1 year for a fighter? Like, what's a safe amount? Why don't we ask Alan? What do you think like a good amount of fights in 1 year is? What's too many?
I mean, if you go 4 fights in 1 year, that's a pretty solid year. I mean, that's a normal, an average year.
Okay.
6 fights is what he's trying to get. At that level, 6 fights is...
That's insane.
It's insane.
If you think about it, at the pro level, a camp typically is about 2 months, right? 6 weeks, 2 months.
Like, where do you...
so span that out. 6 fights 1 year. That is fight... the following Monday, 2 days later, you're back at the gym going for the next guy. Yeah, and chances are you probably don't have a bout agreement signed or a contract.
Right. And we know Donald Cerrone likes his chewing tobacco and his Budweisers after the fights.
Yeah, and his extreme sports.
Yes.
His dirt bike and all that stuff.
Well, maybe he's not Dana White's favorite fighter, because Dana White hated
that's the flip side,
he was into extreme sports.
Always risking his health there and bones and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, even thinking of like a monetary value, not that it's just about the money, but if you think, I think 2011, he fought 5 times. 4 of those fights, he got some kind of bonus. So it is kind of like incentive. It's like, oh, not just getting his purse, but also getting that extra 50,000 for fight of the night, submission of the night. So yeah, I mean, the guy, he must be his favorite as far as money, as far as performance. Yeah. I mean, the guy always delivers. I've never seen that guy in a boring fight. Yeah. Ever.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, taking a quick peek over at your cheat sheet here, we're seeing another rise of Cerrone. It looks like a couple of years ago, back in the early UFC 120s and 130s. He had amassed a really nice win streak going on there. Yeah. And that's going on right now. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Right. And I think this is going to be the time that we see Donald. I want to say rise to the occasion because he's been to the occasion. You know,
It's
he's at
his
the
time.
show.
It's his prime.
This is his time again, shall we say? You know.
I agree.
I think it shows that he has something figured out mentally in the game. Because not only 6 fights in 1 year, just brutal on the body, like J-Tan was saying, with the camps 2 months long and then a fight, and then that gives you like a week off, and then you're right back into it. But mentally, to get up every morning and say, I'm going to go 100% today, and then the afternoon training session go 100%, and like just doing that day in and day out, it's just so grueling. And then they go and they get in another fight. So do that 6 times in a row. He's obviously at a comfortable spot in his life right now in fighting in the camp where I think he has everything figured out. His camp is situated, everything figured out, and he's real confident. He's calling out anybody. So it just shows not only physically is he able to stand up to the test, but mentally he's very strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we see people like Ronda Rousey. She's taken a lot of fights in the past year.
Mentally strong.
Mentally strong.
Demetrius Johnson.
Demetrius Johnson. Yep.
I know we talked about it before, but literally, like I think a day later, he already had the next fight coming up.
Yeah, you said. Yeah, you told me. I was like, already? It just happened. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, not funny, but you know, he was already scheduled to fight Khabib.
He got injured, right?
What's his last name? Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Nurmagomedov.
Yeah. And then literally 20 minutes later, Khabib got hurt. I think he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, that kind of stinks. But I mean, I don't know who else that Cerrone can fight. You look at the rankings. I mean, most of the guys are either have a fight coming up. The only thing that logically makes sense is maybe the winner of next week's Josh Thompson, Bobby Green.
Right.
Just, to get Cerrone. I don't want to see him go fight somebody super down in the rankings, but still somebody that can be relevant.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like if he would fight the winner, it would be Josh Thompson, and that might just be a let's keep you busy fight, considering you want 6 fights in 1 year.
Yeah. Considering he wants to fight. I mean, the guy wants to fight, so how do you say no to that?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I wouldn't say that's just one to keep him busy. Josh Thompson's not a placeholder.
No,
Yeah.
he's ranked number 3.
Yeah.
So he's obviously not a placeholder, but
And I also wouldn't overlook Bobby Green. That
Absolutely.
guy, I watched him coming up on the scene here in SoCal, and he's on a fast rise in the UFC, and he's one of these guys that it's hard to kind of tell what he does well until you get into the cage with him, and he just has this like kind of push forward, almost kind of isn't scared of you kind of mentality. He just gets there and kind of gets in your face. He steps right into range and pushes, and he goes against guys who are supposed to be submission experts, and he submits them, and he goes against guys who are high level strikers, and he knocks them out. So yeah. Don't sleep on Bobby Green.
The guy's got 7 wins in a row, dating back to Strikeforce days, so he is undefeated in the UFC.
Wow.
That's one of the nice benefits, come to think of it, really, in this influx of shows that we have. We're constantly talking about how many different shows, and it's too hard to keep track of all these guys, and you forget matches, and you don't know guys' names, and then you go, oh, snap. What the hell is it? Where did this guy come from, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun for a lot of fans, and probably makes it really tough for fighters, to try and keep these guys on track. Although you were talking about how you're 170 at this day and age, you're only scoping the 170 pounders. You can only focus on one weight class, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, there's enough fights right now. Dana's bringing us a lot of fights to watch. So yeah, I got my homework ready. With just watching the welterweight division, much less every other division.
Definitely. And then you have guys hopping divisions, going up and down. That's
Cerrone being one. After his fight, he did say, any 55ers want to step up, I welcome the challenge, or 70. So I don't know if he was just confident at the moment, feeling the adrenaline. But I mean, he's calling out other weight classes as well. That shows where his confidence
honestly,
level is at.
Considering, depending on how the fight goes next week, I wouldn't be surprised if going up to welterweight, maybe even dropping down to featherweight, just for a fight.
You think so?
Wouldn't surprise
Cerrone?
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
The guy wants to fight. Like I said, how do you say no to that?
No, I agree, and Dana White's not one to say no to that. I don't think.
And plus
It's
he's like
his
he's
mentality as well.
not exactly like a lower card guy. He is like he was a main eventer.
No, absolutely.
He's one of the top guys.
Every time I watch Donald Cerrone fight, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I love watching him fight, and I also think he brings such a great character. He's obviously the cowboy,
He's one of
Southern
their stars.
American
He's
man.
a total package.
Yeah,
He's got
definitely.
it. Yeah.
Definitely on his rise. So he fought Jim Miller.
Yep.
Talk about his last fight. Jim had some great elbows in the first round that I was like, okay, this is a good even fight. Great leg kicks by Cerrone, obviously, and then that front kick to the liver
to the body shot. Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped it because they thought it was a groin kick, I guess.
Right. And in the replay, it looked like
replayed
it just got right above the belt line.
Right.
You know, but
and he was just in pain. It's funny because he fell like you would, like guys do when they get kicked in the groin. That really dramatic moment, and it was just because it was such a good.
I'm sure no matter what, I'm sure it hurt like hell.
I'm sure it did.
And
there was no way that Miller was recovered after that.
No.
He tried. I mean, you can tell even the way his stance was. He's kind of like, just trying to block the body and just, but there was no way he was going to recover that.
Definitely.
He hit him with like the toe or the instep part, and that's the thing that guys are doing at my gym over at Black House. Machida and a lot of guys like that do that to you, and it sucks. It hurts like hell. It's like just going, instead of kicking with the shin, which hurts like hell. I mean, you just go right towards the organ, and
it's a different kind of pain,
pushing
right?
a button.
Yeah, I mean, you just targeting that one organ, so it sucks. But and when you look at it, it's pretty cool because Cerrone, like you said, he beat him with it wasn't a lower a low blow. It was a real shot. So he actually beat him twice. I mean,
exactly.
It's true. That's what we said. We were like, what if Jim Miller had come back after that couple second break and would have won? It would have been really unfair.
Cerrone wasn't complaining or anything. He just kind of said, "Let's go," and he beat him again. So it just
just
props
shows
to him, man.
Absolutely.
Stuff happens in a fight, and you just
never
keep going.
Yeah, and you never want it to end at a moment where it could be questionable. These guys go to decision, and they get results they don't like, and Dana White says, "Well, you should have finished the fight." We've talked about this a lot on the show, and it's like, go in there and finish it, and it's no one else's business.
The more that you implement your own game plan, the less you got to worry about the other guy's game plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Or the judge's game plan, or the
Shout
referee's
out to Matt
game
Hume
plan.
for that little nugget of knowledge there.
Oh, was that a quote, or was that just,
from the wizard himself.
All right. So let's jump over to our other card.
Yeah, jumping over to the other
Dublin,
side of the pond.
Ireland. I was watching Forrest Griffin. He was doing a little pre-fight interview in Ireland. It was extremely hilarious. If you didn't see it, go back and watch Forrest Griffin.
On Fight Pass?
No, I was watching it on YouTube.
Oh,
just
okay.
some random videos they posted. And
although
Fight
I'm
Pass.
sure you can find it on Fight Pass.
I'm sure you can find it on Fight Pass.
Which is available at UFC.com, $9.99 a month. Log in. Check it out.
You can use George Hermosa's login. That's what No, but Dublin, Ireland, I thought the Italian were really expressive and loving. The Irish are extremely
That's because they're all
compassionate.
drunk.
That might be true.
I am too.
That might. Oh God.
I'm not.
I saw what was in there.
I'm not even going to talk about what's in there.
It looked like a dark stout.
You can smell it from here.
But no, but the Irish was extremely excited for this fight. They had a lot of locals fighting. They say, Gunnar Nelson, he's basically an adopted Irish. He's from Iceland, but he calls Ireland his second home. So he was a huge crowd favorite. And of course, Conor McGregor.
Yep.
He went out there. You should have seen the fans going crazy for him. Did you see when the camera went on him when he was walking out through the... Yeah,
they were, and walking back as well, if I remember correctly. Fans were reaching out for him. He was kind of having the cower and stuff.
Yep. It was a Brazil moment. It took me back to those big cards in Brazil that we've seen in the past, and it's like, wow, it can happen in another country.
It's funny because his last fight, I don't know if you remember, was in Boston. Boston being really big on Irish country, and the guy got a huge reception there too. Right. So just imagine him going back to Ireland. Just imagine the ovation he would have got.
Right.
And oh my God, that place was crazy.
So is it the Irish that's the trend, or is it Conor McGregor?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah. They've got a star. He knows how to be a star. They know that they've got one. Yeah. Package him well.
Definitely.
And, a lot of it's hype. A lot of it's hype. I'll get into that in a little bit when we go over the fight. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. It's him. It's the Irish. It's they have their guy now. I mean, I don't really think they had a guy before. This is their guy.
I don't know that he's going to do as well fan wise when you go to like Anchorage, Alaska, Hawaii.
Wait till he goes to Brazil.
Oklahoma. Yeah, Brazil will be an interesting one.
I mean, we'll talk about how he demolished Diego Brandao, but it was bad. So I think when he goes to Brazil, he's going to have a nice welcoming. But let's start off at the bottom of the card. We have Nikita Krylov and Corey Donovan. Nikita Krylov won by, it was ground and pound, round 2. Norman Park and Naoki Katani. Park won via TKO a minute and 18 seconds into round 2. Then we had Brad Pickett and Ian McCall. I want to talk about this one. These guys were so fun to watch. I don't know why I love the lighter guy.
Is that your ATT lineage coming out there?
Why?
Brad Pickett?
Oh, no, because he lost. But
you still stand by your man.
Of course I do.
I like him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
No,
just
I
saying
like
in the
Brad
show
Pickett.
you love Brad Pickett.
Yeah.
He's really fun to watch. But them as a pair, Brad Pickett and Ian McCall, were extremely fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's because
You guys
they're
are
so
super
quick,
fast.
technical, fast, and neither of them were on the defense. I feel like they were both constantly going forward, and that's the type of fight I like
They
to
were
see.
looking for their shots. Yeah. You know, it wasn't. I was expecting a little bit more of a slugfest.
Right.
But certainly not going to say that I didn't like the match at all. It was really fast. These are two guys. One that's been in the flyweight division for a while, and everyone knows is an established guy and a great star, and you know, once again to be a contender, shall
Right.
we say, with Uncle Creepy Ian McCall, and then Brad Pickett, One Punch. He's been so much fun to watch throughout the years. He was
Yeah.
originally in prior to. Well, he was in Europe. I remember seeing him fight a couple of times over in Europe. Might have been a Cage Rage champion, if I remember correctly, and then WEC star, and then transferred over to the UFC. Now, that's all been at bantamweight for the most part, at 135, and recently dropped down. You know, he's had a long career and is gotten to the point where, you know, he's going for another weight class, trying that one, see what he can accomplish there at 125. And
we see a lot of the stars do.
Yeah.
Penn just did it.
I wish he dropped down a little bit earlier, I think.
Okay.
I think we probably would have seen more a faster rise of Brad Pickett at 125. But then again, the weight
Do you like
class
him
wasn't
better at
around.
125?
Yeah, I do. I like him better.
Yeah.
I like him better younger at 125.
Okay.
That would have been the perfect combination.
If you could
there.
have Brad Pickett 5 years ago at 125, that would be your
forget
ideal
about it.
situation. Forget
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
That's
That
the
division
guy.
would have been made for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been their Conor McGregor at that point.
Yeah.
Is marketing around One Punch. Absolutely.
Yeah, they were fun though. I liked Ian McCall's like completely square stance, and he'd go in when he wanted, and he'd come back and just stand square to him and go in when he wanted. Those guys are so quick, they can do that. Imagine if we saw like light heavyweights or heavyweights trying to do something like that. It's amazing what you see in these lower weight classes opposed to the bit larger ones.
Yeah.
Did you watch this one?
Yeah, awesome fight. I'm fans with both of these guys. Brad Pickett, fun guy to watch. Ian McCall, I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah.
We came up together in Tashi Palace. He was the champion.
That's
I
right.
believe,
Okay.
Yeah.
when I was making my pro debut. So he was kind of always on the radar when I was coming up in the scene, and that was an awesome fight. I think Ian McCall just kind of had a better game plan for this fight. Like just watching him, like you said, he would come in and out with the shots. He was always moving.
Dominic Cruz style, yeah.
Kind of a lot of
A little
people
bit,
have
yeah.
been really incorporating the Dominic Cruz thing. You kind of seen a trend happen over the last couple of months in MMA, in UFC especially, with the Dominic Cruz type footwork. But Ian McCall executed his game plan very well, and I felt that was this Brad Pickett's first fight at this weight class.
I believe his
Yeah.
second one. I thought it was
Maybe
Who
a
did he
second.
fight last?
We're going straight to the know-how.
It was his second fight at flyweight.
Okay, so
He won
either
his
way, I just felt like
Series.
he was a little bit heavier on his feet, and maybe he wasn't used to guys at this smaller weight class being able to be so dynamic in the cage and
Right.
move around so much.
Yeah.
So he was kind of heavy, looking for that one punch, or the combo, no pun. And Ian McCall just executed a great game plan. But like you said, those guys are awesome. I love watching both of them fight.
They're
so.
really entertaining to watch fight.
Yeah.
We said if there was more swapping in weight classes, he would be really fun to watch against DJ.
Well, I hope that happens. They've got a storyline there where Brad Pickett beat DJ
Right.
in WEC, and One Punch is going to have to he's going to have to rack up a few wins. But then again, you've got DJ defending against number 6, Chris Carriaso, and due respect to him and anybody in the top 10, but it'll be a little bit before Brad Pickett. We're talking title matches and rematches with DJ.
Of course.
But
Even
there's
Ian McCall and DJ, I would like to see.
Sure.
For
Yeah,
number
let's get
3?
Both.
3 more rounds of that.
Yeah.
Or maybe 5.
Yeah.
Never know. I can always hope, right? Then we have Gunnar Nelson and Zach Cummings. What?
Yeah,
You're saying you don't hope. Just cross your
Cross my
fingers.
fingers.
Yeah.
And this is how you don't get cooties either. That's what I learned in elementary school.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And it applies
Never
to the
heard that
real
one.
world, of course.
Really?
Yeah, that's new one on me.
Really? Nobody ever tagged you like, oh, I crossed my fingers. No cooties.
Oh, maybe they did.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
It was long with like jump rope and hopscotch and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had Gunnar Nelson, Yogi Bear they call him sometimes. He's so cute. I love him.
Is that so?
He looks like Yogi
Hey,
Bear.
boo-boo.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna go to a picnic basket.
Yeah, kind of. And Zach Cummings. Gunnar Nelson has always been talked about recently as a potential for a huge star.
Why, he's another of their stars in the making, another Conor McGregor, if you will.
Yeah.
At 170.
He is so
What's
calm.
your take on him, Alan? 170, that's your neighborhood?
Yeah. No, so I watched this fight closely, and Gunnar Nelson, he's still kind of almost, I don't want to label him like a machito, but he's still almost got that, like, you haven't figured him out yet kind of.
Kind of that karate stance that he has, yeah.
He's got somewhat of an odd stand-up, so people are still figuring him out in the stand-up, and obviously his grappling looks great. The one time, what's his name, Cummings, that went against him?
Zach Cummings, yeah.
Zach Cummings was fighting a good fight and doing everything he could. He shot in on a single. He said, I'm going to try to mix it up. Shot in on a single, made one mistake, got his neck taken, Cummings got his neck taken, and then next thing you know, he was on his back, and the fight was over a minute later.
Right.
But rear naked choke in the was it second? Excuse me.
Yeah, but yeah, no, he's a hard guy to figure out, man. I'd like to see him develop over a couple more fights. But you can see between the first round and the second, it ended in the second round, I believe, correct? Between the first round and the second round, I keep forgetting his name.
Zach Cummings.
No, the other guy.
Gunnar Nelson.
Gunnar Nelson. Thank you. Sorry for that. Gunnar Nelson. I saw his stand-up change dramatically between the first and the second round.
Really?
In the first round, he was still kind of filling it out. In the second round, it seemed as if Zach Cummings couldn't get close to him. He was right out of range, right back in. Like the punches were just going right by his face. And so it just shows that Gunnar Nelson, over the course of the fight, was improving, was making adjustments. And that's the one thing that I took note on him. I was like, wow, he's really found his range over the first 5 minutes and the second 5 minutes.
Definitely.
And you just saw him kind of slowly start to get closer and closer in the range. And then once he got a hold of him on the ground, it was over. So, yeah, he's definitely a guy to look out for.
I feel like so much of this sport is in the emotion and in the eye. Like we've heard Big John McCarthy tell us when he gets in the cage with two guys, he almost knows immediately who's going to win the fight because he can see, you know, oh, this guy's scared shitless, or this guy really has a lot of you know what I mean? He's told us
it's about being in the moment and who's the better guy at that moment,
right?
Really.
Or who's more prepared, who seems, you know, maybe a better weight cut, whatever the case is. And Gunnar Nelson, I think, is so hard to figure out because he has no facial expression. He has no emotion whatsoever when he goes in there. You saw him walking out. It was like you didn't know what to read off of him. Was he nervous? Him just being extremely composed? You didn't know. So I feel like when he fights and he closes the distance slowly, you almost feel like you're not in harm's way because he's not coming at you like, you know, aggressively. I feel like he finds his range in a very sneaky but smooth way and really gets in there and has very accurate shots.
All business in the cage.
All business.
Yeah. He's efficient with his striking as well. He's not getting tired from doing extra stuff.
Right.
Very efficient.
He's not busy with his striking to the point where, you know, we see a lot of guys go in there and they brawl, or, you know, they throw a lot of shots. He's not wasting shots. It's you do those drills in training, I'm sure you used to, where, you know, save your right hand, you know, only jab for a minute. You can only use 5 right hands, you know what I mean? Because you practice saving your good shots.
Yeah.
You know, your power hand. That was almost like what Gunnar Nelson was doing. He was saving his good shots.
Yeah. Yeah, both of them were really exciting shows this weekend. I thought they both delivered, especially with this European show. Again, you saw it was you got to put the showcase, the spotlight on guys like notorious, like Conor McGregor, Gunnar Nelson, One Punch and Creepy, Norman Park. You talked about earlier. You know, he's a guy that gets it. I'm making note about him calling out Diego Sanchez, harkening back to our conversation last week with Mr. Uriah Hall.
Yep. They're the kind of guys you like.
Yeah, I like those guys a lot. Yeah, and obviously so does Dana. Any matchmaker or promoter goes, "Oh, you want that fight? Good. That's less work that I got to worry about. I don't have to solve the puzzle. Let me glue it together there."
Awesome.
You know, and who knows how Diego will respond? But
we will see.
Like that's the drama, the drive of the sport. You know.
Yeah.
So that one delivered, and certainly you had some fantastic finishes and fireworks in Atlantic City as well.
The entire main card, I'm looking at the Dublin card, only one fight ended in decision, went to decision.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of knockouts, a lot of submission victories. Same with the other card, I believe. I don't have the statistics in front of me. But
yeah, and they weren't flash finishes either. You got a couple of rounds of great action.
Right.
And then you got a finish. Definitely.
Let's go over Conor McGregor and Diego Brandao. Featherweight bout. They both came out extremely aggressive. They both are aggressive fighters, which a lot of the time I feel like the matchup is like, you have one more reserve guy that's more methodical, and then you have one guy that's like the brawler and the aggressive. This was not the case. I feel like they were both very aggressive.
Brandao opened up really well in the beginning. Unfortunately, it didn't seem like he kept it going. McGregor took over pretty fast.
Yeah.
And once McGregor got him to the ground. Well, there was I know Brandao was threatening or working for that leg lock a little bit when they were on the ground. And then Conor McGregor pushed out from that, got up. I saw a little bit of talk online about McGregor grabbing the cage and using that as an advantage. When we watched it, when we went back and watched, I didn't really feel like that was too much of a factor. His body was pretty much disengaged after the leg
with
lock.
Brandao's body.
There was one takedown, the very first takedown attempt. He grabbed the cage. It might have had something, but it wasn't like a consistent thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the one he used it to get back up, but he was already on his way back up. It wasn't like he
I don't think it really was to his advantage,
Right.
nor to his
Right.
to his fault. But
right. If it was to a
happened.
point where it would have affected the result of the fight, they would have
Yeah.
said something. But
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything
But
to
with
talk about.
a finish like that, as adamant as it was early in the first or midway through the first, with those punches to Brandao, who's just
Brandao was
turned
no
up.
joke either. Like,
Yeah.
that guy
No,
can
he's
go.
not.
Yeah.
I was watching both of them, their old fights in the highlight reels, and it was like they both have knockout power. They both are really aggressive.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be that decisive of a win, but it was very interesting and entertaining. Conor won via TKO in the end of the first round.
That Irish crowd went crazy.
Insane. And it lasted like
Yes.
minutes after the fight, and I was just waiting
Throughout
for
the whole show, really.
Yeah.
The whole show is crazy. Guys, here's your plug for Fight Pass. Once again, $9.99 at UFC.com or .tv. Excuse me, it might be .tv. But look, Macau from earlier this year, Brazil matches, Ireland, these are the shows that you want to see. When you talk about an influx of way too many shows, a lot of the best matches are outside the U.S., and you catch them at Fight Pass. It is worth your investment if you're a real UFC and MMA fan.
right.
That's my plug.
That was a great plug. There's so much UFC, and there is a lot, but it's also giving the opportunity for so many newcomers, so many rising stars like the one we have sitting right here, to get their chance. And it's a matter of, do they take these opportunities on these smaller cards to get themselves to the bigger ones? So,
It's a chance for them to get used to fighting in the UFC, get rid
Definitely.
of the UFC jitters. And when that big show comes up, be it in February with the Super Bowl show,
Right.
or Memorial Day,
The New Year's Eve show.
New Year's Eve show,
Right.
or what's one in the summer, 4th of July.
Well, they said as of now they actually don't. The only card they have scheduled for December is December 6th. They said they didn't have a New Year's Eve show.
Yeah, because they'll take a break, and then the New Year's Eve, the end all or the year end show will be January 3rd, technically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would be why there's only one in December.
yeah, there's the argument for more matches.
Speaking of which, I have to add this in real quick. They are rumoring that Gina Carano may face Ronda Rousey on the December 6th card if the contracts are signed. It's a rumor. I don't know anyone that trains with her or anything.
I think it's a good
sitting on our couch.
I think it's a good. I think it's a good business decision. But if
Yeah.
I was a fighter, I'd be a little upset about that.
I would be
If you were a
too.
witch fighter,
A fighter.
If I was Gina,
fighter.
I
A
wouldn't.
fighter.
A female fighter.
A
I think it
fighter.
was a
the only
I'm saying the other female fighters would be upset, right?
Just in
Yeah,
general.
maybe,
I mean,
perhaps.
anybody just kind of coming in after a 5-year layoff and losing in our last
Yeah.
fight.
I see that. However, the two fighters involved, Gina
Don't get me
and
wrong.
Ronda.
That's what it's a great business decision.
Yes, it is.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to lose money off that card, off that fight.
Of course not. I mean,
You're going to make your money back by signing her. Yeah.
Now, when is Kat booked?
Amanda
September
Nunes,
27th, I
September
think.
27th. Yeah.
Was it September 27th?
Yeah. I mean, I thought Zingano was going to be next for Rousey, but I guess if they make this deal, then obviously
You
they
gotta
would
wait
give it
and
to
see.
Carano. If I was Carano, I would. I don't know how her mentality is, but I would kind of be like, all right, let me get a few under my belt first. You know what I mean? But maybe she wants the big shot right away.
We
Who
should
knows?
talk to her and find out.
We should talk to her and find
Gina
out.
Carano should call us and explain this and see, give us a little bit of information on where she's at and how she's feeling about things. You know.
She hates interviews.
Yes, that's very true too.
She does.
You're right.
She hates interviews. She hates the press. She hates the
She's
media.
not the most vocal girl, is she?
I love Gina, so I don't know. I don't want to hear it.
I met her. She's
I had
nice.
to do so.
She's really nice when I met her.
Gina had my heart before. I mean, not that Ronda has my heart now, but Gina was like when I started training.
Not that she doesn't.
She was the first. Yeah, she was the first female fighter someone showed me. They were like, "Oh my god, check out this chick," and they
Yeah.
sent me a link. and I actually was supposed to go to her fight in Dallas, Texas, the one that it was supposed to be her last fight, but her last fight was Cyborg, and she pulled out of the other one because of an injury
right. I got
or
you.
whatever. So I was supposed to see her, and I never got to see her live. So if she fights again, I'll totally be at that card.
I did see her versus Elena Maxwell in the early
did you?
Strikeforce. Yeah.
Okay. Back in the day.
You know what? I mean, we're talking about hot houses. We're talking about Big Nog in Brazil,
Yeah.
GSP in Montreal. That's another one.
I'm sure.
Her and Elena blew the roof off in San Jose at the Shark Tank. That was really a fantastic match, and that was probably 07 or 08 or so.
Yeah.
But,
And she, I mean, Ronda Rousey's huge now, but she still doesn't have all the crowd on her side. Gina Carano was always a crowd favorite. They never had anything to hate her for.
But the whole crowd has an opinion on Ronda. And I think, frankly, my opinion is that she has them whenever she wants to have them. She is
I agree.
Is a master manipulator.
Okay.
I agree.
She's fantastic. Queen of the mind games there. I give her all credit.
She's an
for that.
intelligent girl. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. But
Real quick before we move on, who would you put McGregor up against next?
We talked about this. I don't know.
did they make the announcement yet?
Not officially.
No.
No. Seemed like everybody was suggesting Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you think he's all hype, or do you think he's going to be the guy?
McGregor?
Because I've never seen them hype somebody so much who hasn't fought in like Bellator or Pride or
He didn't
Strikeforce.
come out
Jones?
Not probably since Brock. Not
Jones,
even Jones. I think Jones, they kind of groomed him, but the guy's got 3 fights under his belt. Even before his last fight, he was still like billed as the guy. I've never seen a guy get so much hype from somebody who doesn't have that much experience in the Pride and the Strikeforce. They'll hype these guys, you know.
He was a name in Europe.
But I'm saying, like, it's usually the Pride guys who they hype. It's usually the Strikeforce or the Bellator guys who they hype. I've never seen him hype so much guy. It kind of can work against them. But, I mean, honestly, yesterday, I didn't see any flaws in him.
I don't agree that those are the ones that they hype. That it's
Well, I'm
only
saying
guys that are already established.
I never seen a guy get hyped so much that wasn't from there.
Ultimate Fighter guys?
Yeah.
They plug a lot of Ultimate Fighter. In years past, they've given them many chances and built them up. You know,
Well,
As much as Conor?
Yeah, well, they didn't have the same vehicles TV-wise as they have now for Conor. But when you talk about the first season of the Tough Cast, or Bisping after he won, he got a lot of hype and spotlight on him.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. It's constantly changing. We have new shows coming out and new ways of marketing guys these days. We were talking about it with you a little bit, how it works now. Like, how is it that you get on that radar?
Yeah. No, it's an interesting subject. Like I was saying earlier, me and my manager were trying to figure it out for quite a while because I recently just got signed. But before then, I was on a 6-fight win streak for a while. Had a loss, and then I thought maybe one more good win would get me in, and then I got 2 more good wins, and then I still didn't get signed immediately. It took a couple of weeks, but right now it seems it's just kind of like stay ready. It's kind of like that's the formula to get into the UFC.
Yeah.
Right.
Train your butt off, win your fights, and stay ready, because they're gonna call you on a short notice all the time.
Right.
You can't expect to get signed and then say, okay, this is the fight we're gonna build for you. You're gonna have a 3-month training camp. Those days are kind of long gone. Right now, 90% of the guys making the UFC debut are doing it on short notice because they were ready, they got the call, and they took a fight on short notice and they stepped up.
Whether it was fill-ins or...
get filled in.
Exactly, from injury or whatnot, you know.
Let's backtrack a little bit here. Let's talk about your backgrounds.
Definitely.
Alan, you, for full disclosure, Alan and I go back a little bit, known each other for a few years, training at Legends MMA, and I've watched this guy come up through the ranks between small little gym shows doing Muay Thai and amateur MMA, through Tachi Palace and some of the regional pro shows. You've been with RFA for approximately 2 years, am I right? You went 3-1 with them, I believe.
How many fights? 4 fights with them. So
okay.
About a year and a half.
And you've trained under Chris Riley from Muay Thai and Eddie Bravo, 10th Planet. Those were the guys that you correct me if I'm wrong. You really started with them, you would say.
Yeah, no, they built me. Absolutely.
And both of them have been speaking, have pinpointed you, from day one as the guy that can go the distance. So given this, now you're at Black House now. You've been training at Black House and 10th Planet as well. Still, you're on the cusp of this this match, this debut, you're about to hit the stage, and we actually had one of your teammates as well not too long ago, Brian Ortega, also in a very similar situation as you.
Yeah.
Went through the RFA and signed to the UFC. Talk about your thoughts on that jump to the show. Obviously, you've been through the journey that you've been through. You've always had your head on straight, and it's been a very straight shot. But
is your preparation different?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that you say that because, and I'll touch on what you just brought up, but as far as the preparation different for the UFC debut, it kind of is, and I don't know what I imagined, but I know that all these years that I have been training, I walked into a gym about 9 years ago, and I made my pro debut about 4 years ago. So I kind of said, that, I was going to do this 100%. I'm 32 right now, so I knew that I didn't have a large window. Some of these guys, when I was in the amateur ranks, were fighting amateur for 3, 4, 5 years, which is great, and the developmental portion. But me, I knew that I didn't want to be fighting amateur at 30 years old, 31, 32. I wanted to do 1 year of amateur, get in the pro, and start making a name. Because at the end of the day, you want to be successful, not just have a belt on your wall, but you want to make money.
Definitely.
It takes a while. So I wanted to get at it. But as far as preparation for the UFC debut, I've been training my butt off. I've always had my head on straight over these years of training. But now that as soon as I got the call for the UFC, it's like it just clicked, man. And I realized now that when you see these shows, these countdown shows, and these guys are training, you don't know how they're editing it. I give them that. You don't know if they're editing it where they make it seem like these guys are training 5 times a day.
Right.
It's not realistic. But when I would see them train, I would always sit on the couch and watch it and think, holy shit, I need to go train. Because these guys are doing
these guys, yeah. I do this.
I'm watching TV.
Right, I'm not pushing cars up hills. I better go, I don't have a gas. Whatever they're doing, I need to do because... And so, I thought for a little bit it could be halfway the magic of TV or whatnot. But no, once I got the call, my training, and it's more like I was kind of touching on earlier, it's a mental thing. Since I got the call, it's like every single training practice, every training session that I go to now, it's not just going through the hour and a half of doing it. It's like putting 110% effort into every single rep. And it's just everything you do, and it's just mentally very draining, but I see the difference. It's like all of a sudden, it's like when you get your, not that I'm a black belt, if you get your black belt, all of a sudden you're not better than you were 5 minutes ago, but mentally you have to be on the next level. Every role that you go through, you can't let the guy get an armbar because you're a black belt now. You have to figure out a way of that situation. You have to be on point every single role.
Right.
And once you get the call to the big show, it's like that's how you feel like your training has to go as well. You need to go into the gym and lead by example and show the guys how much effort you put into every single rep. And this is something that me and my manager, AJ, we touch on all the time. And it's just goes back to sports psychology, which we're really getting into now that I've been progressing in my career. And it's don't think about a training camp as a 10-week cycle and think about from A to B. You just need to think about every single day. What's my training session this afternoon? What am I going to work on? How am I going to improve it? And then look at it every day. I kind of do it like it's homework. I look at my training over the week now, and I assess it, and I see how many takedowns did I get in wrestling practice today? How many takedowns am I going to get next week? How much am I improving every single week? It's you're breaking it down like a Facebook fan page or something. I don't know. I don't know what to compare it to. But that's what we're doing now. We're literally kind of doing it like it's an equation. We're breaking everything down, going harder every time, trying to improve upon every step. And I've seen my training camp just take off. I mean, I'm
really
getting so much better, so much faster. But it's a lot of stress, and it's just it takes everything out of you. You're not just showing up at the gym and somebody yelling at you and you doing it. You're pushing yourself every repetition. So
it's a blessing and a curse, right?
It is. And so that's why, not to backtrack too much, but we're talking about Donald Cerrone taking 6 fights, and he's the guy right now, and it just shows how strong he is mentally and how comfortable and confident he is that he can put himself through all that right now, and continue to do it.
I'm sure when guys get to the level of Donald Cerrone, they've figured out the equation. Like you're saying, you go back and forth with these logistics. I'm sure he's done it, several times in the past couple of years, and now he has it down to a point where it's comfortable. And I feel like every fighter probably gets to a point similar to that. I'm sure you yourself will. This is your UFC debut, though, so it's like
it's
this
a big
is the
deal,
one.
yeah.
Right?
And fortunately, I I like to say, I remember Jay mentioned that one of the Muay Thai guys that brought me up was Chris Riley. He the owner of Legends, and yeah, he's one of the guys that helped build me. And he used to say back in the day when we were doing Muay Thai that everybody has like a number that you get to where it just kind of clicks. And our general number for the gym was 10. We would say 10 smokers, you're ready for your 10th. You're ready for your first amateur fight. 10 amateurs, you're ready for your first pro fight, and so on and so on.
Oh wow.
And it always kind of clicked. We'd have a, it seemed around 9, 10, or 11 fights, somebody would just kind of go to the next level. And yeah, this was my 11th fight, and I feel like my last fight I'm referring to with RFA was my 11th pro fight. And it was the most I felt everything clicking as far as the wrestling, just being aware of everything, and just in time as well. Getting the call with the UFC.
Do you feel like you're gonna need to deal with the jitters?
That is one thing that I'm very aware of. Being that my opponent Seth Bacszynski, it's like his 10th fight in the UFC. So they're not throwing me a legacy guy. It's not like me and another up and comer that are gonna meet. Right. I'm fighting a guy that he was on the Ultimate Fighter, tough guy. He was 10 fights in the UFC. He just fought Thiago Alves. He's been all over the place. So he's not going to have jitters, and he has a pretty good gas tank. And I would say his biggest asset is that he's mentally very tough. He doesn't get discouraged when he gets outstruck, or doesn't get discouraged when he gets taken down. He finds a way. So yeah, that's his biggest asset. And me coming into the UFC the first time, I'm curious to see what those jitters feel like. You hear about them all the time. You hear about the adrenaline dump. So I'm anxious to do it. I'm just what I've been doing. I've been stepping up my cardio even more, which I didn't think was possible. But just to try to be ready for it in case I do get an adrenaline dump.
What mental preparation? You said you work a lot with that. What mental preparation do you do? Visualizations. I know a lot of camps do that. What is your real mental preparation for this fight?
I do visualization, and what I used to do is every fight I would print up a picture of the guy, and I would put whatever's in my head at the time, whatever's ringing, whatever's making sense, and I would put some quotes, and I would just look at it every morning to try to motivate you. But I kind of found that was after a couple of days, it's like you're just looking at the same picture anymore.
It gets old.
So yeah, it kind of wasn't working. So now, really, what I was saying a while ago about the sports psychology is, I just try to better my report card every time. Okay. My weekly, whatever I did last week, I said, okay, I got this guy down one time, I'm gonna get him down 2 times today. Okay. Last time I couldn't run the pipe on him, so I'm gonna go for a high crotch, whatever it may be. I'm always just kind of like breaking down my performance, and trying to better my performance in that, in wrestling or Muay Thai or whatever it is. So
it's
that's
very statistical. It sounds.
It is, and when you do it that way, I feel like that that's what elevates you the fastest. And so this is I'm excited about it. We've been doing this, me and my manager, for a couple months now, and it's been, like I said, I've been seeing the progress, and my coaches say they see the progress.
It's like self-awareness. It's like knowing what you're doing, acknowledging it, and changing it.
It's like the numbers don't lie. You might think, oh, is he working hard? Yeah, he's working real hard. He's busting his ass in the gym. But if you're kind of taking note of what you're doing, how many liver kicks did I land this week? How many takedowns did I get on this one? And then I compare it week to week. You can't always beat, but you'll know what the numbers are. So that's how I do it now, and breaking it down to a science. It's not the old days of the boxing. MMA is kind of an evolved combat sport. Right. So
sounds like you're ready.
That's where we're taking it. Yeah.
You ready? It sounds like you're ready.
For the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 weeks out, but like I said, I'm starting to home in, like pinpoint all these little things.
The little things, because I'm a big fan of it. The little things add up to the big things, so it's like it all adds up.
Exactly, day by day, session by session, put everything together, and then when it comes down to the fight, don't think about the knockout at the end. Think about every small execution during the fight that leads up to the finish.
Would you say you're more of a wrestler or a striker? Or?
Striker. Been a striker. Started off in Muay Thai. I did Muay Thai. I had like 10 amateur Muay Thai fights, or smokers mixed in, and then I went into MMA, and that was kind of my one weakness, was my wrestling, and that was I fought for the RFA welterweight title against Mike Biggie Rhodes, and he pretty much out-wrestled me for 5 rounds, and that's when I made the switch to Black House. Went and started doing wrestling with Kenny Johnson, Bolt Wrestling. He's well known, and he works with Machida and pretty much all the Black House guys, and he's just kind of one of these like testosterone, it's
he's
just
a
like
classic wrestler.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He comes in
Kenny for a couple of years,
drinking a Mexican Coke and eating a cupcake and yelling at you, but man, he's a great coach. I'm clowning around, but he's really he's mastered the art of coaching. He makes it simple and MMA applicable. You know what I mean? We're not learning all kinds of crazy stuff that doesn't apply to MMA. We're learning how to get off the cage and how to take you down and then ground and pound you and beat you up. And like I said, my last fight that I had with him, I fought Ricky Legier, who's, I don't know, he's got like 30 fights or something. He was
King
on
of the Cage veteran. Yeah, he's been around for a long time.
Veteran. I think he hadn't lost in like 4, 5, or 6 years when I fought him. And he's a wrestler. He's like a California state champ or something. So it was supposed to be like my Achilles heel type fight. And if I beat him, I get to go to the UFC. So obviously I won that fight. But I told Kenny as soon as the fight was over, I was like, where were you 2 fights ago? Because you know, this is what I needed. So he's been one of the missing links, and along with some other camps, my Muay Thai.
That's awesome, and it's so important. There's a lot of wrestlers, obviously, that have developed into the UFC and the MMA world in general, but it really is a skill in itself, taking wrestling and making it MMA wrestling. Yeah. Because a lot of stuff in wrestling, I mean, you look at a takedown, you're like, oh my God, I would just knee you in the face, or so on and so on. But it's incorporating the wrestling into the MMA, and I think Kenny Johnson's well known for that.
Yeah, he's very good at taking guys like me and turning him into, if not wrestlers, anti-wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Having that defense.
Being very hard to take down.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Let's talk real briefly to, we got a few minutes. You've talked so much about, I'm sure in past interviews, about the dual career that you have. I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
Here, listening to, you're taking this career seriously, or at this point of your career, you know, so seriously, and breaking it down to an academic science. Mm-hmm. Not what you would expect from a model, from a fashion model that sits there and just gets paid to look pretty.
I know.
And that's what you did for however many years before, as you were getting into the game, and that was your side gig.
Yeah, and it still is, man. I still do it. It's funny because the last RFA that I did, I told Michael Chiavello, you have the meeting with the commentators before you go out there. And we always have them. I've fought with them numerous times. We know each other well. But I told him, I said, Mike, do me a favor, man. Can you just say Alan Jouban, the model, or former model? Can you stop saying the male model? Because every time I do, he's like, beautiful head kick by the male model, and it's just, I was like, it's just too Zoolander-ish.
Yeah, it puts a weird stigma in people's heads.
People are always gonna relate me to Zoolander. And
I didn't even think about that. Come to think of it, that's how much we go back.
I was like, I'm telling you, man, just say model, and it's just gonna be like, oh, okay, the guy was a model. That's weird, or like, I know you don't have that many model MMA fighters, whatever. Right. Anyway, so he did me the favor. I thought he was gonna butcher me up for making that comment, but he did me a good one. I appreciate it, Mike. But yeah, it's been tough, man. I've been it was something that I fell into. I grew up in Louisiana. I was a country boy. Yeah. I was really a bad kid, man. Like when I hit 18, I completely changed. But I was really kind of a troublemaker as a kid. And then I got offered a modeling contract walking the mall one day, and next thing
that's what happens to bad boys.
Yeah.
You know, like it sounds kind of far-fetched, but I got offered to move to New York and do some modeling. And next thing I know, I went from Lafayette, Louisiana, to move to New York, living in Manhattan for 2 years and doing modeling. And then that kind of took me from there to Miami, and then ended up here in LA. And yeah, and it was just something, you know, it was a cool career. And like I said, I still do it, and I still make money from it. But it was something that the whole time I knew that, like, I was still searching for myself. I still knew that, like, there was something inside of me that I was trying to find out. And then I walked into a Muay Thai gym. Yeah. And I was like, this is it. This is it. And thank God. So.
Does it raise your stock any now? I mean, it's got it now. You're a UFC fighter.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping, you know, if it helps. I mean, if it helps endorsements or sponsorships, then that would be great, you know.
Play it up, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. What's his name? Sexyama back in Japan.
Oh yeah, Yoshihiro Akiyama.
I don't know. Sexyama. I don't know how well he does, but he's, you know, he was doing it a little bit. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's definitely tough to juggle him these days, you know. Now that the fighting has escalated to this level, and that's all I pretty much focus on.
Right.
Going to a job, you know, a commercial or a photo shoot or whatever it may be, it's tough to kind of like get yourself.
The mindset.
Like I said, it's because it's such a mind thing. I'm in this crazy mindset, analyzing my training all day, and then I go and I have to forget about that and just be like this casual, friendly guy. And
you have to avoid temptation to punch out the photographer.
Yeah, you know,
makeup person like, get off me.
Right. You just have to be very friendly and whatnot, and just not think about fighting for a couple hours. So it gets
two different worlds.
It's two.
But I'm sure with all this promotional work you'll be doing with the UFC, maybe the two worlds will meet, and maybe you'll be doing some like I don't know, MMA gear modeling.
He might be on the cover of the next video game.
Next video
Yeah,
game
don't doubt
cover.
I would love that. Man. No, honestly, you know what? I was thinking about it the other day, and I think it was meant to happen because I'm supposed to be here today. I always knew that I was like gonna be a fighter. I just always knew it. I didn't figure it out till later in life. But I kind of take it as preparation. Things like me on this show today, this is learning for me. I want to get better at interviews. I want to get better at speaking in public. I want to get better at all these type of things. And I think modeling and acting, even though I wouldn't say I'm a great actor, but all this stuff, being in front of the camera and speaking to people all the time, kind of prepared me for this. And I'm hoping it continues to prepare me for what's to come in the future.
Definitely. In LA, there are quite a few fighter, actor, models. I mean, not on a high scale like you, but it's all creative.
No, I've gone to auditions and I sit down on the couch and Josh Barnett's sitting on the side of me, and I'm like, we're auditioning for the same role. You kidding me? Yeah, you see it all the time here in LA.
That is so funny.
All the time.
You and Josh Barnett. What role could they both play?
It was like a
A
burger.
human being.
I don't remember what it was.
Or a fighter, for that matter. Hey, a UFC fighter. They both are. Real quickly, let's see. August 18th or 16th?
16th.
Your show.
August 16th.
August 16th. Do you know, are you on, well, I'm guessing the prelims are you on Fox Sports 1 or
Well,
what's the
I got
TV?
confirmed for the prelims, so I don't know if that's Fox Sports 1 or
The
Fox
first
Sports 2.
prelim is on the internet, and then the rest are on Fox Sports 1.
So it's on Fox?
Are you the first
Or
fight?
Fox Sports?
I'm on the TV prelims,
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Fox
which is
Sports
great.
1.
So
Awesome.
is it Fox Sports 1 prelims and then Fox Sports 1 main event?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
You'll
So
be-
Fox Sports 1,
Yep.
correct, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And it's against Seth Bacszynski. It's in Bangor, Maine.
Bangor, Maine, first time they've been there. First time a lot of people have probably ever.
First time
Yeah.
you've probably been there yet.
I think it's I think Dana White possibly
He grew up there.
grew up near there,
A
so
few
that-
years. Yeah.
That's kind of part of it. So I'm excited to be there. I'm excited they're
Yeah.
not sending me to China for my first UFC
Definitely.
debut.
They
So.
would love you, dude.
Definitely.
Let me tell you about that.
Hey, there you
Yeah.
go. So the Asian market. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's about 4 weeks out, and I mean,
Awesome.
I'm on point and super excited for it.
That's
Well,
very
we
cool.
wish you the best of luck. We will be cheering you on. I was at Tap Out in downtown LA the other day, and I saw little posters that said, "Come watch our teammate."
Oh
And
yeah.
I
Oh, they're for the viewing party.
Yeah, they're having a
yeah.
viewing party for you at your gym. That's awesome.
There you go. If you're in LA for my fight, August 16th, go to Tap Out Gym.
Downtown LA.
Downtown LA.
Also, 10th Planet headquarters, and they're gonna be a big viewing party, projector screens, food, drinks. So
I'll
All
be
that
there.
kind of good
After
stuff.
after Uriah Hall won, he called in. Feel free to call in after you
That's
win.
right.
oh,
Yeah.
after he won, he
Yeah,
called in.
like
Yeah.
2 days, like 3 days
The
later, he
next
called
day.
in, talked about it a little bit. We'd
We're
love
here
to have you
every
call in.
Sunday, so call in.
There you go. He's probably like me. He doesn't sleep for like 2 days after fights. so-
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. He said he was back training on that broken toe.
Yeah.
Any plugs you want to get in before we leave?
If you give me 1 second, I actually came organized today.
Now he's pulling it up on his phone there.
Look at
Meanwhile,
I have it right here.
Go ahead.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Real quickly, because my manager has got this organized for me. Helmer Guidance, IA Robotics, Event Apparel, Perfect Fits, Alpha Biotic Balance Center, Biologics, Cryotherapy, Lexani, Rev Gear, Spike 22, Pilgi, and New Breed Nutrition. All my sponsors. Thank you guys for all the support. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Go ahead.
well, look, University of MMA comes back. I got visuals here for you. August 24th, Sunday. Yeah, that's right. Tommy Aaron's on our bill here. Club Nokia tickets are now on sale, and also you can buy "Is This Legal" by Art Davey, the story of the very first UFC by the guy who created it. Also available online at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and Ascend Books. And by the way, Mom, you were the last one to watch TV, so I have no idea where you put the remote control. Sorry.
Follow me on Facebook, G Hermoza. Follow me on Instagram, G Hermoza. I'm a fun guy.
You are.
I don't mean mushroom
You
either.
really are.
I don't mean a mushroom. I'm a fun guy.
You are a fun
Follow
guy.
me on Instagram. You'll see what's up.
Daria B28, follow me, Instagram, Twitter. You can see me on one of the soon U of MMA cards with Jay Tan. We don't know which one
That's
yet,
right.
but I will be fighting soon. Tune in next Sunday. We have an extremely special guest, someone
Oh,
who
yeah.
was part of the creation of the UFC. So tune in to see us live.
We didn't let the cat out of the bag right there, did we?
No, not at all. Could have been Dana White, Lorenzo Furtado,
Yeah,
any
sure
of
it
those
could
guys.
be. No, you couldn't be.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.